Welcome back to a new edition of NC Sports Weekly News with top water sports action from around the globe, and it's a packed agenda. Double-handed offshore sailing hits the USA for the Atlantic Cup. The latest update as the fleet now closes leg one to New York. Team Australia wins big at the ISA Stand-Up and Paddleboard World Championship in Nicaragua. Tahiti, Canada, Denmark, France, and the USA also take home individual golds. Caribbean sailing hits Antigua, highlights, and the full report with senior correspondent Sebastien Destremau. It's not just a trend, it's a completely new era. Foiling has gone mainstream, and the Flying Phantom crushes its first record at France's Eurocat in Carnac. Blue Moon has no rivals and reclaims the Melges 24 European Championship in Hungary's Lake Balaton. NC Sports, plunge into the action. It's a close race for the American Class 40s, now completing their nearly 700 nautical miles from Charleston, South Carolina to New York. This is the Atlantic Cup, a tough double-handed offshore regatta along the eastern coastline of the USA. And this year, 5 teams are putting their claim on the event. As this NC Sports Weekly News goes to air, and with 2 days into the race, Gryphon Solo II and JeffreyMcFarlane.com are leading the pack in an extremely close two-way rush on their route to the Big Apple, followed by Dragon and Play It Racing, while Flatline was unable to make the start and will rejoin the fleet for leg 2. Tackling a series of high-pressure system, the fleet is now cruising on strong southerly winds. Following the New York stopover, the race will continue with Leg 2 and the 231 nautical miles to Newport, Rhode Island, where a series of inshore regattas around the buoys with a full crew of 6 will close this year's proceedings and determine the overall winner of this Atlantic Cup 2014. To follow the race as it develops, link up to www.atlanticcup.org. Nautical Channel is a proud media partner of the Atlantic Cup 2014 and will be bringing you special updates and complete results in all upcoming NC Sports editions. After 10 grueling days of super tight competition on Lake Nicaragua, Team Australia bagged its 3rd consecutive gold and was once again crowned as the new ISA Stand-Up Paddle World Champion. Over 200 athletes from nearly 30 countries came to Central America to find out who's the best in the 3 disciplines of this booming new sport: surfing, prone, and stand-up paddle. The Aussies got the good scores in the surfing heats early on and finished in 2nd place overall on the waves, coming in from the Pacific at La Boquita, where Poenaiki Raioha posted a strong 17.50 to take the men's individual gold for Tahiti, while Emmy Merrill closed the women's file with a 13.50 for her very own American gold. The Australians came on strong on the flat water that featured distance and technical races for both stand-up and prone paddlers, always placing athletes in the very top positions and building a substantial advantage on the USA and Brazil, respectively, with the team silver and bronze medals. Individual gold went to Denmark, Canada, France, and the USA, but when it came down to stand-up and prone paddling, there was just no stopping the Aussies. Jordan Mercer, Rice Burrows, and Shakira Westdorp won the final day of technical races and sealed the deal for the nation's title. Plenty more on this phenomenal ISA Stand-Up and Paddleboard Championships coming your way with highlights, interviews, and insight on the next edition of the NC Sports Buzz.
welcome to the office. The Caribbean racing season is coming to an end with the 47th edition of the prestigious Antigua Sailing Week. Starting from English Harbour, located on the south coast, the competitors enjoy a festival of sail. The conditions are harsh during the last day with over 20 knots of wind. Some of the performances are noticeable. Tonnerre de Bresken and Pocket Rocket are competing for the famous Lord Nelson's trophy offered to the overall winner. The weather conditions suit the larger of the two boats. Thanks to great results, Tonnerre de Bresken wins the prestigious trophy and completes a fabulous sailing season. In CSA1, the Swan 65 Spirit wins ahead of the first 62 Mary Thought. In the Bear boat, the Sun Odyssey 44 Sunsail wins convincingly against her sister ship, Kif Racing. Rendezvous next week, same time, same place. Until then, goodbye and fair sailing.
The Eurocat in Carnac is one of the most prestigious sports catamaran events in France, and this year was no exception, with more than 150 boats and the very top crews joining in for 4 days of regattas on the marks and a key long-distance race. There was one clear difference in this edition. Multi-hull racing, if not sailing as a whole, is at a turning point. The America's Cup made it famous worldwide, but foiling is not just a passing phenomenon. It's got tradition, and it's now changing the very name of the game.
Des catas, c'est faire des bateaux qui volent. Donc c'était il y a 3 ans.
The future is in catamarans that can fly. We've been at it for 3 years before it even existed in the America's Cup. So the objective was to develop a flying catamaran for the mass public.
Et donc on a eu la chance de faire un partenariat avec Franck Camas de Groupama. Et toute son équipe.
And we had the opportunity to partner with Franck Camas of Groupama and his team, who also put their resources into the development effort. And we tested the foiling system and rudders throughout 2013.
Avec toute l'équipe de Groupama, ce qui a permis de mettre au point tous ces foils que l'on voit aujourd'hui.
The system is now in its 8th generation and evolved in order to find the difficult compromise between speed and stability.
Avoir un bateau qui est très stable et rapide, qui est le compromis qui est difficile à trouver.
The newly launched and hugely successful foiling 18-footer immediately made a record-breaking debut here on Brittany's coastline, even in the variable 5 to 15 knot easterlies, blowing on the historical Eurocat course around the Île de Ouate. The Flying Phantom sailing team, with Gourvan Bonton and Benjamin Amiot on board, literally flew away from the rest of the fleet, even as winds began to drop, and closed the long-distance regatta in 2 hours, 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Holding speeds of 25 knots, the French duo shaved off 25 minutes from the previous Eurocat record. NC Sports will keep close tabs on the Flying Phantom, now also rating up for a World Series and already attracting some of the top sailing teams and skippers on the pro circuit, including Oracle, Red Bull, François Gabart, and Philippe Presti, among many others. Even without the injured world and European champion Flavio Favini on board, Blue Moon showed once again why they are the team to beat in the Melges 24. Franco Rossini's crew showcased mostly top Italian pros on board, and with more America's Cup veterans like Matteo Ivaldi on helm, Stefano Rizzi, and expert pro tactician Gabriele Benussi, the Swiss squad dominated the event with 2 wins and 3 second places in the 10 regattas held in Hungary's Lake Balaton. Retaining its crown here at the MKB Bank Euros, Blue Moon was followed by Italy's Giorgi team, led by owner Matteo Balestrero, who were 12 points off the pace and closed in second overall, while South African skipper Ian Ainsley on the Hungarian boat's Strange Brew completed the podium in third. In the Corinthian division for the non-professional, Estonian sailor Tonu Taniste at the helm of Lenny secured its Melges 24 European title with a 12-point margin. And for more top sailing and special insights to the ISAF World Cup finals for the Olympic classes in Yale, stay tuned to Nautical Channel and this Saturday's premiere edition of Top Story. Plunge into the action with MC Sports.